friends. It is Saturday, August 29th. Let's look at what the current chart says. So, there's been a theme the past couple of weeks, and the theme, in my view, has been the uplifting of astral energies in the human energy field and into our view. And that's shown here. This red and yellow that's been dominating the chart about August 14, 15, if you remember. We had these amazing waves of light come in, and they were really deep and they were really impactful. And I did a 2-part series on them called Incoming Wave, which I'll link below. What that did is these lines of white resonance deeply impacting the energy fields. So I just want to remind you of some of the activity earlier in the summer. At the mid to end of July, we had these amazing waves of light come in. Then here, right after the Lion's Gate, that's the 8-8 gateway, mid-August, we had these amazing waves of energy come in just after the Lion's Gate. And there was also a lot in there about integration. For example, there was an angel with dark and light, or a human being that was manifesting both the yin and the yang consciously in their energy field. And we saw that again in the last video right here, where this was on August 25th. You see this here? This is the rabbit that appeared. I was talking about a person going through different stages of awakening, and then we begin to reach out. We begin to learn more or perceive more, and then we begin to shift and address what's going on in our lives, including the shadow side, and we bring light to that. So this rabbit had both the light of the white rabbit and the shadow of the red rabbit. It was half and half, and its face there, see, there's half the white and half the red. So after that white rabbit, what we had was this energy right here on August 26th, on Wednesday of this week. This was pretty fascinating here. It looked very dramatic to me. So first what you had was, you have this figure of the being form again. And I often think of when these green balls come into the chart of the human energy system, it appears like a lot of yellow and red energy in the mind. And we can think of that as astral energy in the human energy field, and in particular in the mind. This green energy at the mind is more of like a compressed oval rather than something that's rounder like these balls here lower down. These parts of the chakra system also seem compressed or almost warped, like they're in a lower dimension moving through to a higher dimension. So you move out of compressed state into a higher state. And that's, in my view, what happened here at Wednesday to Thursday. It's almost like a gate that we move through. But you see here, there's a lot of mental projection that's going on, and it's because we've been subject to basically, if you will, mind control, basically repeated statements over and over. And we take these statements and we act them out in our lives. They're not information that comes from within necessarily, but others' interpretations of the world. This energy that came through here Wednesday was kind of unusual at this point in the chart, between sort of the mid to high 20s. And it almost looked to me like a divine program, because it has some white resonance in it, but it also then turns to a little bit purple here. And I kind of felt like it was an offer. My last video talked about offers from forces of density, but this to me felt like an offer from God's program, I don't know, to level up. It's a process rather than something to believe. It's a process of sort of realignment with the divine within us, which puts us on our unique soul path. I wanted to show you about this, that it reached 40 hertz and it was green. But it was green and then with sort of an imbuement of light. See, there's a lot of dense energy in here. There's a lot of purple here too, which is usually supportive. But there was a lot of dense energy that was being sort of contacted in this. So it looked like it was an upgrade for those of us who are basically really moving through 4D or moving through astral energy in our fields and deciding what to do with that, addressing that. So the astral cleared, but you still have the head in a more compressed state. The body is recovering a little bit better. It's more circular. And here, to me, what this looks like is it looks interdimensional. It looks dimensional. Like, for example, you have a choice of this time, place, occasion, energetic package for your field. You have the choice of this one. You have the choice of this one. You have the choice of this one. We have choices of how are we going to deal with this? What behaviors, what timelines, what behaviors? And I'm talking about personal timelines and personal behaviors, right? Because we can stay with our field compacted, more compacted. We can stay in that more depressed state or rageful state. So everywhere from that to making some changes in life to really bringing a lot of light in and having some big insights that even shift the direction of our life. So all these choices are available now, and the energy to do it is available. And why is that? Well, friends, we're on the cusp of Mars in astrology retrograding. We're going to be making a shift where Mars goes way back all the way into the middle of Aries, and this is a cycle that goes on into September and October. The thing about it is that it gives us the energy to change if we want. What this image to me looks like is astral projections. The reason I showed you the chart from earlier in the week is so that you could see the progression. So here this person is got a lot going on in their mind. Thought loops. It's probably fueled by emotions as well, but there's not a big heart connection here. There's not an ability to feel into the heart. And so then what happens is we get sort of another choice point where the divine is assisting us. It's not as dramatic of a timeline shift. It's more of a personal timeline shift because you can see the energies go to 40 hertz, but they're deeply, deeply imbued in the deep depths of our being. And it's got a lot of divine support here for the human frequency. When we get back up here in the chart to low 20s, that's the hertz. That's where you start to see the dense energies that are collected. So here, see, you've got the white. It also helps to lift up, get us in touch with the astral that's in our field or the dense experiences and energies. But then we get the divine support going to 40 hertz. So we have access. This person here who's looking at what does this mean for my lives? So then when this person moves here, okay, they have this whole spectrum available to them. You can think of it interdimensionally. It's linear, but it's also like depths and depths within the energy field, from awakening and light to challenging experiences that still exist in the body or the energy field, the physical body or energy field, to receiving support from the divine for those who are seeking and reaching out within for assistance. Here's the choices. See, now that's what I love about the Schumann resonance. There's usually a story. So this being moves forward. They have their personal timeline shift available. The full range of experiences is shown here. Now we have the choice here of where we want our energetic field structure to be. And then here we're shown that light can infuse the matrix now. So if you've been feeling trapped, if you've been feeling suppressed in any way, the prominent action here is light coming into this matrix energy. Are there at the vertices densities? Absolutely. But the white resonance shows us what's active in the chart in this image. It's the opportunity to bring light. And look at these super clear, almost gem-like, they're like harmonics. I used to play the violin, and with string instruments, you get this one spot on each string. It's probably other instruments too, but where you get a harmonic, where you play that note, and it's just like, it just sounds so incredibly beautiful. That's what this looks like to me. And this is very higher dimensional energy, very expanded states that bust us, lift us up. Do you see how the white resonances here that have imbued these lines? It's almost like they lifted up out of the denser matrix behind them. So now you have you have the person who's had all that astral energy in their head, and they're projecting outward into the world. And I'm sure a lot of us have experienced this lately. I know I have. I've had people that I know and I say hello to, and we're acquaintances. Here I am just walking around minding my own business, and I say hello to a neighbor, and suddenly they just start spewing all of this information, no information coming from their own soul, their own self, what it is for them, what it means in their lives. But here, they need so much validation of these things right now. But what it is that when we're not connected within, okay, we don't have that heart light lit up. I'm pointing to this because this would be the heart chakra. Oh my gosh, look. There is some activity going on. Look, there it is. There's a tiny, tiny light. It's a little bit gray, okay? I'll be honest. It's a little bit gray. But there's some activity going there. And look, there's a little bit of gold, okay? And there's some movement with this heavy, dense energy. But see, look, it's actually reaching. So we've seen it before in the chart where the light reaches up to the mind, but now the darkness is reaching up, and it reaches up right here, okay? And there it connects with some other dense energy in the mind. This is in the frontal lobe because this person is pointing to the left. They're pointing towards the past. There's a lot of darkness here in the back of their brain. That's where the reptilian is, the ancient brain. That's sort of down. It's sort of down here, and then it sort of extends up in the back there. Okay, so we saw that those dark lines. So then that kind of connects here. Here's the frontal part of the brain. Here's the front of the brain, and now this person is gonna project outward all of this density that they're carrying within them, and all of the programs. And they can't speak to their own pain because they're not connected enough. So they're speaking to whatever they've been reading, whatever they've been seeing, things that are, normally we used to connect on sports. We used to connect on, I don't know, just different stories, things that were going on in the community. But now everything is imbued with politics. And so now everybody's watching TV. The only thing that people are talking about on TV is politics, and this person spews out whatever they've just seen. There's no more talk about community. There's no more talk about even health, right? Because of this virus, everybody's in a panic and barely is talking to each other anyway. So this person is spewing out this information to the left. In a way, maybe they're dumping it so that they can lighten up. But by dumping it on each other, what happens? It makes us want to just be in our own island. Here we have the most recent image this morning in the chart. It looks to me like a new timeline where upgraded light is brought to the matrix. Oh, I skipped this. Hold on. All right, this here, we go to 40 hertz again with this. Now, you see all the astral, the red being imbued. Here's the white resonance coming in, bringing comfort, bringing hope, bringing insight. If they proceed forward, this is their choice. There's a lot of astral here, but you see the jewel colors? There's the opportunity to have some amazing and great insights. And maybe that dumping is actually speaking to a therapist, or maybe they did some healing activity, or maybe they engaged in, watching a video that allowed them to release all this from their mind. So here we have the new timeline then, another potential, right? It goes to 40 hertz. And look here, it becomes imbued with the blue protective colors, calming, relaxing colors. And I usually think of divine will, the color blue, color of Archangel Michael, but he represents divine will. The purple, here's even some almost goldish white jewel here of this color. It's absolutely gorgeous. Here again. Okay, so the opportunities, wow, to change, and almost like a rainbow of color up here. It's just gorgeous. It's so amazing, right? Isn't it amazing that we could go from this state here? I think that these two go together. I knew I was going to say more about this, but they go together because this person is moving backwards in the chart to find an island of calm. And in that island of calm, where there's none of this astral, they're able to take advantage of these energies that are coming in. Isn't it weird? Okay, it's weird and it's not, because moving backwards in the chart to me correlates with reaching deeper into density and then bringing that to the surface. This gives us the opportunity to have more of the matrix imbued with higher dimensional, more expanded frequencies. Even the greens here in this part of the chart that is very matrixy is brighter. And you see the jewel colors now on some of these. And even the red is brighter. Gosh, it's so gorgeous, isn't it? So this gives us, it's like as a collective, right? We're upgrading the whole structure in our lives and in what I focus on, the human energy field, and how these energies affect the human energy field, because from energy you create in the physical. So how our energy field is structured, we then bring that out into our life, and the choices that we make. And so I just want to show you a couple of other things here. The green quality has been very, very low. Yesterday, it really started spiking upward, even back to its highs. Previously, it had been so low with only, very limited spike periodically, maybe once a day or less to its high. So we're getting some energy here to change, to make some movement now this weekend. The other thing that's been going on is that we've been getting access to the full range of the human. I'm focusing on the green here for a moment, but on the human. See, look, we've gone all the way into the 24s without the need to have a wave of the white resonance. So those waves carried forward. And someone asked me in my comment section if this light that comes through, does it last for certain periods or not? And my answer is it does flow forward. We do still have access to it. It does shift the chart. So it's a story that goes together, because those waves, you saw them at the beginning of the video, at the beginning of July, you saw them in mid-August, but here you see us now reach those levels without also needing the wave. It's caused a big shift. But what this also does is it allows us to go deeper in the field. Now, it's really interesting here because you see in the yellow and even in the red, but you see these periods where the frequency is sort of held. Right after these timeline shifts and images, you see the frequency sort of held in one place. Well, the yellow and the red, when they represent more of the astral energies or shadow side of our non-physical human experience, it's like it gives us a moment to really stop and look, right? Because that frequency is in a narrow band for hours and hours and hours here. It gives us the opportunity to look at and be shown what's going on in our lives. If we can get the courage to, even in depression, even in rage, to calm down, or in depression, to lift ourselves up, to take a look and to just ask within. And it's that asking, that desire for answers that then brings them to us, that where then the opportunities cross our paths and we get to decide then if we want to take advantage of that. And the same with the red, it made these little shifts that lasted for much shorter periods of time. It's kind of interesting. And here you have just the white resonance supportive in the background in my view. Now there are a couple really interesting things, and this is from charts from TSIS. I forgot to label it here. But anyway, so after having a period of calm just last night for us, but just yesterday, you had the solar flaring dip really down low and then have this, what I call a scrubbing pattern. And what this does is it kind of pokes us down deep into our energy field and allowing us to touch some of these past experiences and learn from them. And supporting us in that, you had the geomagnetics rise. So this is the geomagnetics, the electromagnetic energy in the atmosphere, and this also comes from thesis, and I'm specifically talking about how I view this affecting the human energy field. But you had a couple of instances over the past 2 days, okay, and this was really from the time of making this video only 3 hours ago, because each of these bars is 3 hours, and this was pretty much yesterday. Or the beginning of last night if you're in the United States. But here you had, to me what this does, it kind of scrubs the outside of the field. So we had both this happening where we had poking into the inner, and we had this happening, scrubbing the outside of the field, giving us agitation, and then a little bit more agitation. Let me tell you what happened to me during this time period. I had this amazing life-shifting insight, okay, during this. So we had 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, you had a little dip down here as well, about coinciding with the bigger geomagnetic storms. But then you had this here right before the gentler storms of a few hours ago. Going back to the chart, and this chart is 7 hours ahead of the charts I just showed you for solar flaring and geomagnetics. But basically, during this time period here, it's allowed us to have incredibly clear and cool insights, especially looking back into the past. And this weekend, you can still take advantage of these energies because these influences carry forward in the chart in terms of how they affect the decisions that we make about what to do in our lives. So if you're at a point where you can take a look and consider events in your life, this is a fantastic time to do that and get great insights. It's a really challenging time to do that because all this astral energy is up, and there's a lot of challenge to just, dump onto others or be triggered. And if instead we choose to rather than acting out, we choose to look within. You see, interacting with someone here doesn't help them here. Let's just say violet flaming the discussion so that it could return back to a state of neutral and wishing that person well. Yeah, so anyway, I just, over the past 12 hours, I've had just incredible life-changing insights where it's going to really help me adjust my path forward. So the beauty of these really challenging times, my friends, is that if you wish to make a change in your life, this is the time to do it.